I'm Jess, the face and voice of the real CamFam.
And I'm Justin, the off-screen voice of the real CamFam off Twitch.
We are introducing episode 2 today of the CamFam Campaign. We are deep diving into Katastrophe and how it started and became our family on World of Warcraft.
But what is Katastrophe? It's our guild? Yeah.
It's
our
a
family.
little bit of a guild, our family, our community. It has evolved over the years.
So if you don't know, a guild, though, real quick, is just your group, your club of co-players on a game. So
yes.
It could be a clan in some games, things like that. So just so you know, it's equivalent to a clan or anything like that.
First started, we told you last time that we had a friend of ours get him started in World of Warcraft. His name was Bulgarak. He's got a brother named whose character is Stelezio. We're only going to use from here on out their character names within the guild.
For the most part.
To protect them and
unless they've given us permission. Otherwise.
Yes. So tell us how in the game Bulgarak got you started within the game.
Within the game, he just dropped me off pretty much with 1 gold and sent me on my way. He gave me 1 gold, told me, "Don't worry, this will take care of you." And I was like, "You're out of your mind." Turns out he was right, but that's a back in my day story for another time. But that 1 gold did last me quite a while. Repairs, training, until I was self-sufficient. And then I went on my own. I pretty much played by myself with you over my shoulder, but in game by myself for 20 plus levels, almost 30.
And that can be from anywhere from a few days, a few hours.
Depends when you were playing.
On how long
if you're playing today, you can get from 1 to 80 in a day.
Exactly.
Back then, it could take, I was probably playing 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And hadn't really. I was getting bored. Yeah. It was very much the same thing. The scenes changed, the regions, but the quests, as we joke about on the stream, even they're all the same.
It feels like it.
When you've done tens of thousands of quests, now they're all the same, and sometimes that's a comfort. Sometimes it's boring when you're just starting out, and this is all you know. It can be boring. The cat's getting a little rough over here off screen, but it can get a little boring over time. So I was about to leave. I was about to quit the game. I said, at the end of this month, kind of like we're talking about on our stream here and there, at the end of this month, when my time ran out, I was done.
Yeah.
And then I was in South Shore, as
I remember watching you.
Yeah, you were watching. I was there. And coming out of the Yeti Cave, as we affectionately call it, it's just a cave, quest hub, right above South Shore in the Hillsbrad Foothills.
South Shore, down right there on the coast of Hillsbrad.
Just above it to the left.
Straight up.
Boom, right there. And I come up out of it, and there's a paladin. Looks about as busted gear as me, and I look at him, about the same level. He whispers me and says, "Care to duel?" And I, sure, I'm going to lose, but go ahead. Why not? He was polite. He asked, let's do it.
Dueling in this game, let's preference that, is where 2 characters, they're not PvP at that time. Yeah. They can be of the same faction.
They fight. They spar. They fight it out.
Spar and see who the better man is.
No one's supposed to die.
Exactly.
We've made it happen, but no one's supposed to die.
This is glitches for another time.
Glitches for another time. We could probably do a whole episode on glitches and bugs and fun stories there. But he duels me and rather handily beats the snot out of me. He did have to bubble though. So I got him down quite a bit.
By that,
I was fascinated because I was like, wait a minute, immune? What is this? I had no idea. And so we move on. He says, "Hey, good duel, good job." And I say, "Hey, you were much better. Thank you." We go our separate ways. A couple days later, I'm in Badlands, just doing some quests and farming some rock elementals for my level 40 mount coming up in probably about 6 levels. It's coming up quick.
He didn't know that he would have gotten more money or gold within the game if he had just stick to questing.
Or it would have been faster, for sure. But it was good. I was a warrior. I could kill mobs endlessly. Yeah. Unlike a mage or a paladin, where every 2-3 mobs you're sitting down and drinking, I didn't need to do that. I had so much stamina and spirit on my gear.
Preference the fact,
right now, another story.
That spirit is not a stats that
Warriors
warriors need. We had gotten a guidebook,
the original Brady
the
Games
original guidebook, and we were just looking at it, and he looks and says, "Spirit, oh, okay, so regen mana and
Health
life,
and mana, yep.
Outside of combat. Okay, I'm going to stack that
Yeah,
particular
to be fair,
stat
an effective situation. It was effective,
because you were
but
playing
not
solo.
most effective.
Yes, you weren't doing the damage.
I would have been doing it way faster and not needing to recoup my life if I would have just stacked string.
Exactly, but we didn't know.
We didn't know that. We were learning, so that was one of my early noob mistakes. But I'm there fighting these rock ellies, and I run out. I got to go empty my bags, go back to the city, something like that, and I just passed this guy. He's just running on foot, no mount either. We're just running past each other, waves, and I look, and it's Gemini. It's Gemini, the same one who beat the snot out of me at the Yeti Cave just a couple days before. And then fast forward another couple days. This all must have happened within a week, within a couple of days. That day, it might have been that same day that I was back in Stormwind, and I just decided it's time to find a guild, time to find some friends to play the game with if I was gonna have any hope of sticking around. And so I put out just a trade message, just say, hey,
LFG looking for guilds.
Yeah, just like level 40 warrior, level 38 warrior looking for, or DPS warrior looking for guild. Immediately get a message from Gemini. Says, how about pain? And I'm like, yeah, how about pain? That sucks. I don't know what to tell you. And not realizing he meant the guild pain. There were no linking your guilds back then, nothing like that. So his words were, how about pain? A couple jokes back and forth. He goes, no, that's the guild I'm in. And I said, okay, invite me. So we joined. We slowly, we can kind of fast forward through a lot of it because it's all a lot of the same stories. Yeah. But
it was within a few days of you joining Pain that I started actually playing the game.
Yeah.
Because I was later on a member, not a vital member of the game, of the guild, but I was one of their active members.
Yeah, absolutely. But let us not forget that at first, those first couple of weeks, there's no, in my mind, better way to describe your role with us than annoying little sister.
Yes.
Kind of thing. Like that, because we were just far enough ahead that anything you needed was not useful to us. I was just to help.
And I was playing a rogue.
You were playing a rogue. You needed some help.
I needed quite a bit of help.
But you did all right, and you wanted to do most of it on your own.
Yeah.
But when you needed help, you needed help. And that's the best I could say. It was that just annoying lesser, or underclassmen, or however you put it.
Yeah.
And, but we did it. Philip was especially, Gemini, the one we can say, he was especially patient.
Yeah.
And he would come help out whenever you needed it. And you guys became very good friends. And then he and I were very good friends. And yeah, we all kind of coalesced into our own core within Pain.
Yep.
And then eventually their Big Daddy Guild, Death Warriors.
Yeah.
In which we made other friends, other rivals. I won't say enemies. It's a video game. But rivals, people we compete with, people
that we get butt heads
with. That's why I just say rivals. It was all in good fun most of the time. Right down to whether you talk about the duels with their old leader Cervicon, or whether you talk about the time they were talking a lot of smack and myself and Gemini challenged their guild to a duel. And I mean us two against every member of their guild they can bring. But a duel wasn't good enough. You couldn't do that. No, you couldn't do that as a guild, though. You couldn't duel as a guild.
No.
There was only one way to do it. You had to go to an arena.
And there were two arenas at the time. One in Stranglethorn, and the other was Gurbash Arena in...
No, that's Stranglethorn. Dire Mall's the other.
Dire Mall.
Yeah, Dire Mall in Feralist.
Yeah.
And the point about one of these arenas, because they weren't actually in use as an arena in game, they're lore arenas. But Gurbashi is to an extent.
They are free-for-all arenas where it doesn't matter what faction you are. If you're all alliance, you're all going to be against each other in that particular circle of death, basically.
There are some events in game in the Gurabashi where
Yeah.
there'll be a badge every few hours that's put in there.
Yeah,
Everyone fights, and it used to be really good if you were making a PvP twink, as they're called, which is just your low level that you funnel all your money and resources into. It's not a weird sexual thing. But that's what they've always been known as.
Yep.
That trinket was really only good for those. But nonetheless, we went to go. We challenged them to duel. They did not like our rude brashness,
It was a long time coming because that was a particular guild that had starting in Pain. They wanted to continue on with Moradon, which was the very end of vanilla of OG, and they didn't want to move on from it, where everybody else was already ready to move on from it. That was, I'm trying to think, Blue and a couple of the others.
There was a couple of we really didn't take a lot of consideration because he was a lot lower than us a lot of times.
It was his brother.
It was his older brother was the one who was leveling ahead, and but still way behind us.
Yeah. So then when we all moved over to Death Warriors, their parents, their aunts, their uncles that owned Death Warriors.
They were family guild.
They still were like, okay, let's continue with Moradon, continue with the lesser stuff in Classic, while most of us were starting to move on to BC.
Yeah, we're looking at them going, you're level 60. What are you doing in Moradon?
We're like, come on, let's go to BC. We have this now. We didn't even think to consider that maybe they just didn't have the expansion or were too proud to
say There could be that, or where my mind goes is, as we know, one of the core tenets of Catastrophe, as we've discussed previously, is that we didn't leave anyone behind.
Yeah.
And yet, when we left Death Warriors and Pain, it was because they were refusing to leave anyone behind.
Exactly.
But I feel like there was a dividing line, and maybe it was only in our own minds, that they were refusing to move on, whereas we were always holding back with an effort to move on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's semantics, but we wanted to bring everyone with us. Whereas I feel like in our time in their guilds, it was they wanted to keep everyone back with them.
Exactly.
That's the big difference. It's which direction we were pulling in. We were trying to bring everyone with us. Come with us to Burning Crusade.
Yeah.
Come with us to Hellfire Peninsula. Instead, they were like, no, stay here with us in Mara.
Yeah.
Or Sunken Temple.
Sunken Temple.
Things like that. These level 50-ish zones. Stay with it. And it wasn't like a one-off come run. It was, you'd get online, be like, all right, today's the day. I'm going to help. And no, come back. Let's do this.
And Moradon, if you ran the original, it was not a 10, 20, 15 minute kind of run. Moradon was long and confusing and could take hours, especially if you got lost.
Yeah.
There was no summoning people, halfway through the dungeon to bring them closer, or there was no separate entrances like there is now because of guild.
If
you died, oh my god.
You were running clear across the zone and then all the way through the dungeon and competing with Pats, which are patrols that will respawn. Back in the day, if you defeated a boss in a dungeon, you had a certain timer before mobs would start to respawn within that dungeon. But not the same mobs you killed, they'd be separate patrol mobs.
Yeah.
So, if you were running dead mines in the old day, you'd run through, you'd kill the first boss that would trigger your first set of mobs, which would spawn at the entrance.
Yep.
So
and they would walk their way up to where you were.
They would patrol that line.
Yep.
So if you died and you weren't able to be res and you had to run back, now the crew had to go back and help you either fight them, you had to try to skirt around them, which some of them you couldn't.
Yeah, because back then, resing someone took a reagent.
In combat, it would take a reagent.
Yeah,
so
that was the thing that you always had.
Not everyone had a res. Yeah. There was like 3 classes had reses.
Oh yeah,
now everyone has a res, or 4. No, 3, because it was paladin, priest, shaman. We didn't have shaman.
And druid.
Druid only had rebirth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Druid did not have an out of combat res yet. Not until I want to say, I could be wrong, Miss Pandaria. Somewhere around, or Kata. It might have been Kata. But it was It was it was a long time coming for them to have an out of combat res.
Yeah.
Otherwise they had a 20-minute cooldown res that they could use that eventually got shortened to 10.
Yep.
But nonetheless, dungeons were not the same. They were arduous back then.
So the dungeons were kind of one of the reasons we started butting more and more with our heads with Death Warriors. Then you and Philip leveled without any of the Death Warriors being on.
Yes, they did not like
and
that.
You guys got to 70.
He got there first. He got there first.
Yep, with them offline, and they didn't like that.
What probably made it worse is he did it, and then the very next day I did it.
Yeah, they did not.
After they made a big deal about him doing it, and no, we wanted to be there for it, and then I did it the next day.
Because they had this big thing where they all wanted to gather around the person who was supposed to be turning 70 and watch them do it.
Yep.
As if it was
a special
world achievement.
Yeah, like they were getting realm first or something like that.
So it was a special.
We're doing this months after world firsts, so people are already raiding actual raids, and we're just now approaching max level.
Yeah.
So this is right around the time though.
Yeah.
That we decided
we were still living near Stelezio and Balgarak, and they came over to our apartment, and we started talking with them. I think Philip, Gemini, and Zelon were on voice with us at the same time, and
on TeamSpeak.
On TeamSpeak, and we started talking, the 6 of us, and we're like, we need to figure something out because we cannot continue being with Death Warriors. We can't continue being basically bullied within the guild.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. They were never going to respect us. They were older than us, not a lot older. They were, if we're millennials, they were Gen X. They were just 10, 15 years older than us.
They had rules.
But they had rules, and we did not like those rules. Because they were about control, is what they were. So because my thought would be, and probably what fed into our longtime rivalry with this guild, is that I believe their underlying philosophy was they were controlling the progress of other players so that no other players would outshine the leaders.
And that's the leader was the one who took it the hardest when anybody tried to outshine him.
Yeah. When I leveled up to him, he was the arms warrior of the guild. He was the DPS warrior in the guild. And I was not Fury back then. I was arms, 100%. Yeah. Like, to the core. You could not convince me to change.
Yep. We didn't have dual spec back then.
There was no dual spec.
The ability to change between the specs like we do in retail now. So you choose your spec. you pretty much, unless you want to spend hundreds of gold to redo your talent tree or your change to
buy new jewelry, buy your weapons, probably half your gear.
Yeah, you had to commit to that particular character.
So I was an arms warrior, and so was the leader of the Death Warriors.
Yeah.
We had a couple of duels here and there. He thought I was a little brash. I won. Probably one of the, for our relationship within the guild, probably one of the first nails in that coffin was me.
Yep.
And I did it in front of his family. Like the first time I won, no one was there. Then I beat him again. 3 of his relatives had flown in to watch this duel, knowing he was going to beat the snot out of me. Well, that's why I think in their mind, they knew. He was like level 68, 69. I was level 63. This should not have happened. I should have been stomped. But enough. But I beat him, luckily. And I'm not that great. So that's just how bad he was.
Yeah.
So
before we formed our main guild, we tried a couple of different guild names that didn't really take off. Alliance of the Dragon, Reluctance,
which was a throwback to inventing swear words.
No.
Or no, Oxhorn's stuff. No.
Illegal Danish.
Oh, Illegal Danish. You are right. Yeah, the wonderful, that web series they made, that great machinima. Illegal Danish.
Yeah.
We love the joke of reluctance, and people have asked exactly what are you reluctant to do.
People knew what.
They knew what the reference was, so it was great.
And that was long before things started really going viral.
Yeah.
But then so in our meeting at our house, we were talking, and we're like, well, we need a guild name. If we're gonna form our own guild, we need a name that
is also a
stands
philosophy.
out.
Yeah.
And that is kind of our philosophy. And somewhere along the lines, I think it was Stelezio was like, what about Catastrophe? And we're like,
And right away, I don't remember if it was me or you said, as long as we spell it wrong.
I'm like,
you know,
just spell it wrong and make it stand out.
Yeah.
So when you see our label or our logo for Catastrophe, it's spelled
wrong.
with a K.
With a K.
On purpose.
That's on purpose. We don't think the one with a C was taken. I've never seen a Catastrophe with a C.
No,
The
never
player
even
name,
looked
yes,
about it.
but I've never seen
Never looked
a
for
guild
it.
spelt that way. But yeah.
So our founding members were Gemini, Zelon, Stelezio, Balgarak, Felix, which was my rogue, Angel Ace, which was his main and still is to this
Still my
day.
main. And 4 mystery players. Which shout out to you if you're watching this.
If you know who we
If you know who we are and we know who you are, thanks. But we did have, I believe we had 2 to 4 other signatories that were we paid 10 gold a signature or something.
Wife
she might have just signed with an all, and
yeah.
And I think you might have gotten one of the people from like your old guild.
Yeah.
Peanut P or something might have signed. Something like that. One of those old ones that we played with and were tight with for a little while. But yeah, we started that guild. I had started it. I think the only reason I started it is you still owned Reluctance when I went and bought the chart.
And then I destroyed it
anyway. Then once we got all 10 signatures, made it a guild, you destroyed it. We just didn't want you to have to destroy it if we weren't going to get another one off the ground.
Yeah.
So
I already destroyed it when I.
Okay. And
because I was in Death Warriors with you guys.
Yes, you were. You were in Death Warriors with us. But then Philip brought in a couple of core members for us.
Yeah, Gemini brought in. We were at work one day, and Gemini went out recruiting. He brought in Whisker, who brought in his best friend Voladair. Voladair brought in his wife and Delilah, and somewhere along the lines they brought in Tafar.
Yeah, we think it was around the same day, but not. They weren't together.
No,
they weren't. They were separate people.
Yeah,
but these were 2 groups of people who are still in our lives.
Whisker, Voladair, and Delilah are still some of our best friends. They live on the other side of the country. We still talk to them, not on a daily basis, but we still have a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Tafar, he's basically the uncle of the guild. He was probably our oldest member, but so
at the
therefore
time, yeah.
He is
still that guy who back in his day when he ran back in my day. That was great with old grandpa there, but
he did not last long in the guild.
No, he didn't. We thought he might have died.
I think he died on voice.
Because he was on voice and he stayed on there for a couple of days with no responses. So
open mic and everything.
Until like the server had to restart and then
That was kind of freaky.
Yeah, a little bit.
But during our days with Karzan, raiding Karzan, we brought in Nikki, Solsara,
Kathor.
No, Kathor was after.
Oh yeah, that was Lich King.
No.
During BC.
Precisely. No.
Yes, precisely the hunter. They brought in Nisi. Yeah. It was precisely first who brought us Moradith.
Yes.
They were a friend of Moradith.
Yes, that was
and then Precisely was with us for that raid, but then went their own way. Yeah. I think they joined the guild, but left rather quickly.
Yeah.
But Moradith stayed.
I forgot Moradith was.
Nietzsche was his druid, though.
Yeah.
But yes, Moradith was the bitch ass hunter, as he wanted to be called, and he insisted as long as we had a rank within our guild for him, only him, he would always stay with us. Yeah. So even when he brought his druid in, they were of the rank.
Even when he does come back to play with us,
anytime we made a bitch ass hunter rank.
I even text him to this day, and I'm like, "Hey, you
bitch ass hunter." Yeah, because it was his own joke back then. Hunters were far more the butt of a lot of jokes.
But when we stayed in BC, we stayed in Karazhan and the others until we had it down. We did not move on until every one of us could get through each boss and
got whatever we needed.
Got what we needed. So much so that Whisker had already had his tier 4 helm And what he did?
Yeah, he ninja'd my tier 4 helm. We shared a token, and he took it from me. He still has it in his bank. Last he told us.
Because warriors and druids shared.
Yeah, they shared our
tokens
token,
at the time.
and that definitely brings us to the philosophies of that guild. That we
Never
didn't leave
give
any.
up.
We never gave up. We never left anyone behind. Now we could have went a lot of times. Went to Thoughtbot. Went to Wowhead. Went to any of these and looked up. Hey, how do I defeat this boss?
There's a lot of video. How-to
Not a lot of
then.
videos, or if there was, we'd have to watch a whole long, drawn out
Yeah.
video just to find out what the heck do we have to do. There was no chat GPT. There was no here's a walkthrough, a breakdown, nothing, and or an in-game adventure guide like
Yeah.
we have now.
Yeah.
We were just last night. We were doing a dungeon, hit a roadblock, went, what do we got to do? Opened it up, went, oh, got it. Okay, there we go. It wasn't that easy. Yeah, and we just now. Back then, we would just keep bashing our head against the wall.
Yep.
Doing 1% better every time. 1%, 2%. We
Like-
get better.
Like, for instance, when Zolamon, the original, not the midnight version, the original Zolamon opened, they had, before they nerfed it, they had the GON set up so that everybody had to click it at the exact same time.
Yeah.
We probably spent about 2 hours trying to get past that GON.
Yeah, because
our guild was...
The hotfix was only one person had to click it.
Yes.
Before that, you needed, 3 or 5? All click at the same time.
Yeah.
So
once we got past that dungeon was...
It was
or that
pretty
raid was
easy. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
For one, it was a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
It really was. Probably one of the most fun we've had in a raid.
So when Wrath of the Lich King came around, Katastrophe had started to grow. We had started having more and more members. We had brought in a couple of other guilds, and Katastrophe has a history within that is a little bit complicated. But we had another core group of members that kind of came in with us. Hathor, his best friend, which we, for the love of us, we cannot remember his character name.
But we're good friends with him in real life. But
So,
he won't get back to me in time for us to get that answer right now. So.
That's quite all right. But we had met them, brought them in with a couple of other people, and we started downing Nox. And like our Katastrophe way, we never gave up.
Mm-mm.
We tried and tried and tried the safety dance. I mean, we made sure.
And the thing is, we didn't even have to.
Yeah.
We could have cheated. I use that word. We could have janked it. We could have skirted around this way, and because the safety dance in and of itself is an entire achievement.
Yeah.
Meaning you did it perfectly.
Exactly.
Versus you got through. Because you could get hit with that fire once or twice. But if you did, you lost the achievement. And we did it until we got the achievement for everyone.
Exactly. And we just kept growing, and building on those achievements within our guild, within our groups. And we grew our relationships, our friendships. We've had trolls in our guilds. Those are those troublemakers who talk a little shit in trade.
We've had good-natured trolls, bad-natured trolls. We've had them all, and I'm not defending or condemning either. I'm just saying we've had the lovable troll from the guild that everyone loved. But we had some big enough names that people knew who we were for a while
because of them.
Because of them.
But we're not going to get into their names because a couple of them have asked me not to talk.
Yeah, and they brought us fame and or infamy for probably the wrong reasons, but they gave us a name.
Yeah.
And for a while there, we were the #1 Alliance server and #3 overall server on Cosmodon US.
Yeah.
And that helped with you stealing most of the members of Weepinch.
What happened was right before a expansion comes out, they like to go back and nerf all the old raids and stuff for
plus
anybody who wants to get plus you're buffed, you're geared,
all this new gear.
So we had put together for Mount Hyjal a huge raid, 40
plus people for this push.
And I was trying to hit our voice macro, the one for our voice server, so everyone could join our voice server. I hit the recruitment message,
which we had cleverly made to, if you clicked it, it would type in whatever channel you were in.
Yes.
So instead of a /2 or a /raid,
recruited half of Weepinch.
They were like, did they really just drop? Like, they were blown away. Like, did they really just do this? They set up a whole raid just to try to peel us away. And people were like, "That's great, I'm doing it." And they drove. We got 23 members, I think, that night. 23 members in our guild.
All by accident.
All by accident. And we got Crimson Sun at one point. Frozen Sun. Something with Crimson.
Tide.
Crimson Tide. We absorbed in a lot of those, and from each of those, we at least for a while kept someone here and there. They would be like, you know what, I didn't like those old guys, I'm going to stay with you. And then they would join us. But that we never gave up, and we never left people behind. That's what we were about. That's what we are. And just to bring it all home, that's the real CamFam.
Yeah, and we're still there. We're still talking to these people if they ever want to come back to our guilds or any of the games we play, which we've played so many with them, even off of WoW. We can get into that another time, but we're still there, and we welcome them with open arms.
We're here. We're always here. Like we said, we'd keep that light on for you.
Moving forward, it's not going to just be about World of Warcraft. That is our 20-year dirty hobby.
Yeah, it's really just what this is just to give you, because the real CamFam would not be what we are without Catastrophe.
Exactly.
And the road to Catastrophe was filled with pain and death. So along that way, we eventually became the real CamFam. Now our guild is still Catastrophe. We're not changing that. We never will.
No.
We are Catastrophe, but we are the real CamFam, and all of you are welcome to join that one. So.
But moving forward, we want to talk about different gender roles within video games and what some would consider the boy universe when it comes to Marvel, DC, different types of book genres, different types of cartoon genres.
And more, not a social statement about it, but your experience.
My experience.
Your experience. We're not trying to assume anyone else.
It's going to be my experience because I, as growing up, didn't have both genders to just hang out with. Yeah. I've always been a loner except when it came to social.
Sure.
Online social. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about various books, various movies. We have a couple of people that are going to come in and talk with us about being a dungeon master for D&D, Magic the Gathering. We have a friend of ours who wants to come in and pretty much talk your ears off about.
We might have to leave and just let him
Warhammer.
Go,
he's actually being featured in a magazine with some of his paintings and his statues. So we want him to market himself for that particular thing.
And I was just so excited when we met with him at the TCG and just sprung it on him. We'd already mentioned it to him online, said, hey, we got this idea, but we went and saw him in person. He was at the TCG doing his thing.
Yep. He's also a guild member of Catastrophe.
Within seconds, him and 3 of the guys around him start doing exactly what we want. They just started spilling it, pouring it out, geeking out about it, and just, hey, let me show you these figures and tell you about them. And it was like, wow, okay, this is what we want. This is, come on the show, save it. That's what we want you to do for our viewers and our friends. And geek out about it. Tell us, convince 1 or 2 people to play your game with you.
Exactly. So, and then we also are hoping we can get our local TCG owner to come in at some point and talk to us about how he got into being a TCG owner.
Why would you do that? Like, what would, I mean, it's kind of a dream for all of us, but why would you take that risk?
We also have a friend, he might actually end up doing a 3-part show with us, Dungeon Master, Magic the Gathering, which he's so much about. And then he's also been a manager of a TCG. So I think we might end up doing 3 parts with him.
Yeah, we'll spread him out and stuff, but he's a great guy to talk to. And we know he's so knowledgeable, so friendly, such a fun dude to hang out with.
Has his own show.
He's featured on Twitch where he does his own Dungeon Master, he DMs his own games. So I'm sure when he's on, we're going to want him to plug that for you. And so you can go check him out.
Exactly. So we're going to end it here with, on a high note, our Geek of the Week.
Our Geek of the Week, as you nominated, Sheldon Cooper.
Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory. We're choosing a character because he personifies geek. He can go on and on about video games, superheroes, trains.
Kind of reminds me of that unnamed priest.
Yeah.
A little bit. He's always reminded me of that unnamed priest. When I tell people that if they think they're a genius, they don't know anything till they meet a genius, I always thought,
also a physicist.
yes, that's why it always reminds me of, because he is also a physicist. And he's the person who taught me that while I thought for a long time I was smart, that I was a dummy.
Yeah.
This guy is brilliant. And yeah, he's, he's just like Sheldon. So
Yeah.
Sheldon Cooper is the geek of the week. And he had a podcast and a show about flags. Come on.
Right?
Come on.
He went out.
How do you go more geeky? Exactly. How do you go more geeky? Although I suppose if you do a podcast about fonts, that might be a little more. So we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.